Want to learn your target language for free? Then get our language gifts of the month right now, before they expire. Here's what you're getting this month. First, the Going to the Movies conversation cheat sheet. With this new cheat sheet, you'll learn to say phrases like, "Does this have subtitles? When does the movie start?" and much more. Second, the How to Talk About Your Feelings PDF ebook. You'll learn over 90 words and phrases for feelings with this bonus PDF picture ebook. Download and review it on any device. Third, 30 must-know opposite adjectives. Learn how to say young and old, hot and cold, and much more. You'll pick up over 30 words with this vocab bonus. Fourth, can you talk about people's appearances? With this quick 1-minute lesson, you'll learn to describe others with words like tall, short, muscular, and much more. Fifth, want the language learning app that actually gets you speaking? Download Innovative Language 101 for free for the Android, iPhone, and iPad. You'll unlock hundreds of bite-sized audio and video lessons made by real teachers and start speaking in minutes. And finally, the deal of the month. If you want to finally master the language with lessons by real teachers and our complete language learning program, get up to 45% off our 6-month challenge sale. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the description below. Download them right now before they expire.
Hi everyone, I'm Yinru Li. In this lesson, you will learn how to give your phone number.
This is Mark Lee, and he's at City Hall registering his address. The civil servant who is helping him asks, "What is your phone number?"
您的电话号码是多少?
Listen to the conversation and focus on the response. Ready?
您的电话号码是多少?
我的电话号码是123-4567-8910。
Once more with the English translation.
您的电话号码是多少?
What is your phone number?
我的电话号码是123-4567-8910。
My phone number is 123-4567-8910.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how the civil servant asks, "What is your phone number?"
您的电话号码是多少?
First,
您的
your.
您的
This starts with
您
you when using formal Chinese.
您
Is often used to show respect to people, such as seniors or customers.
您
Now, you might be more familiar with
你
meaning you.
你
As this is a city office setting, the speaker chooses to use a more formal.
您
Next is
的
the possessive marking particle.
的
Think of
的
as a way to indicate possession. The word it follows possesses the thing that comes after it. In this sentence, it marks
您
you as the possessor. Together, it's
您的
a formal way to say your.
您的
Next is
电话号码
phone number.
电话号码电话
Phone.
电话电话号码
Number.
号码号码
Together, it's
电话号码
phone number.
电话号码
Remember this because you'll see it again in Mark's response. Next is,
是
in this case, it's like the is in what is your phone number?
是
After this is,
多少
what?
多少多少多少
Literally means a lot, a little. It's used to ask about quantities or numbers, and it usually translates as how many. As a phone number is a set of numbers,
多少
is used in the question. Here, however, it translates as what in the question, what is your phone number? Altogether, it's
您的电话号码是多少
this literally means your phone number is how many, but translates as what is your phone number?
您的电话号码是多少？
Remember this request. You'll hear it again later.
Let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Mark says, my phone number is 12345678910?
我的电话号码是12345678910。
First is
我的
my.
我的
This starts with
我
I.
我
After this is
的
the possessive marking particle.
的
Together, it's
我的
my.
我的
Next, do you remember the word for phone number?
电话号码
Phone number.
电话号码
Together
我的电话号码
means my phone number.
我的电话号码
Next is
是
is. Here, it's like the is in my phone number is.
是
Next is Mark's phone number.
12345678910 12345678910
Note how Mark says his phone number. First, he says each number independently.
123
Second, the number 1 is pronounced
1
instead of
1
in this dialogue. This is often the case when giving phone numbers. The reason? The pronunciation of the number 1
1
is similar to the pronunciation of the number 7.
7
This could be confusing, especially when you're talking over the phone or speaking quickly. Altogether, it's
我的电话号码是12345678910
my phone number is 12345678910.
我的电话号码是12345678910。
The pattern is
我的电话号码是
phone number. My phone number is phone number.
我的电话号码是
Phone number. To use this pattern, simply replace the phone number placeholder with your phone number. Imagine your phone number is
22332233。
Say, my phone number is 111-2233-2233. Ready?
我的电话号码是111-2233-2233。
My phone number is 111-2233-2233.
我的电话号码是111-2233-2233。
In China, cell phone numbers are often written without hyphens or spaces between the digits. When speaking, however, the digits are often grouped in the following format: 3 digits, 4 digits, and 4 digits, with pauses in between. For example, 123-4567-8910. For landline numbers, such as for office and home phones, a hyphen is often put after the area code. When giving an office or home number, simply pause in place of the hyphen.
Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
我的电话号码是123-4567-8910。
我的电话号码是030-1212-3434。
我的电话号码是111-5578-5578。
我的电话号码是9876-5432-5432。
我的号码是678-4455-7788。Did you notice how I omitted 电话？我的号码是678-4455-7788。
My number is 678-4455-7788. When directly responding to a question, it's often possible to omit part of the response. Here, by simply saying
号码
or number, there is no need to include
电话
phone. The pattern is
我的号码是
phone number. My number is phone number.
我的号码是
Phone number. This can be shortened even further.
678-4455-7788。
Here, by simply giving your phone number, there's no need to say
我的电话号码是
my phone number is. You should be aware of this pattern, but for this lesson, we'll use the pattern
我的电话号码是
phone number. My phone number is phone number.
我的电话号码是
Phone number.
Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say my? 我的 and how to say telephone number? 电话号码，电话号码。Do you remember how to say my phone number is? 我的电话号码是。我的电话号码是。Do you remember how Mark says, my phone number is 123-4567-8910?
我的电话号码是123-4567-8910。
我的电话号码是123-4567-8910。Do you remember the formal way to say your? 您的，您的。And the formal way to say your phone number. 您的电话号码，您的电话号码。When asking about a phone number, do you remember how to say what? 多少？多少？ Do you remember how the civil servant asks, what is your phone number?
您的电话号码是多少？
您的电话号码是多少？
Let's practice. Imagine you're Karen Lee, and your phone number is
123-4577-8911。
Respond to the civil servant's request. Ready?
您的电话号码是多少？我的电话号码是123-4577-8911。
Listen again and repeat.
我的电话号码是123-4577-8911。我的电话号码是123-4577-8911。
Let's try another. Imagine you're Ben Lee, and your phone number is
555-6677-6677。
Ready?
您的电话号码是多少？
我的电话号码是555-6677-6677。
Listen again and repeat.
我的电话号码是555-6677-6677。我的电话号码是555-6677-6677。
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Lou Liu, and your phone number is
111-5578-5578。
Ready?
您的电话号码是多少？
我的电话号码是11155785578。
Listen again and repeat.
我的电话号码是11155785578。我的电话号码是11155785578。
大家好，我是李燕如。Hi everyone, I'm Yanru Li. In this lesson, you will learn how to talk about your family.
This is Ben Lee, and he's at a coffee shop with his classmate, Lu Liu. Ben is showing her some pictures. She points to one of them and asks, "Is this your family?"
这是你的家人吗？
Listen to the conversation and focus on the response. Ready?
这是你的家人吗？
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。
Once more with the English translation.
这是你的家人吗？
Is this your family?
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。
Yes, it is. This is my father, mother, younger sister, and me.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Lu asks, "Is this your family?"
这是你的家人吗？
First is
这
this.
这
Next is,
是
in this case, it's like the is in this is.
是
After this is,
你的
meaning your.
你的
There are two parts. First is
你
you.
你
Second is
的
a possessive marking particle.
的
Think of
的
as a way to indicate possession. The word it follows possesses the thing that comes after it. In this sentence, it marks
你
you as the possessor. Together,
你的
your.
你的
Next is
家人
family.
家人
There are two parts. First is
家
home or family.
家
Next is
人
person or people.
人
Together it's
家人
literally home people, but translates as family.
家人
Last is
妈
this is a question marking particle. It turns a sentence into a question.
妈
Altogether it's
这是你的家人吗？
literally this is your family, but it translates as is this your family?
这是你的家人吗？
Remember this question. You'll hear it again later.
Let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Ben says, "Yes, it is. This is my father, mother, younger sister, and me."
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。
There are two parts to the response. First is,
是的，
which translates as, yes, it is, in this context.
是的，
This starts with,
是，
meaning yes, when responding to a yes-no question.
是，是，
Note,
是，
is used to affirmatively answer questions that contain,
是。
like,
这是你的家人吗？
is this your family? By replying with,
是，
you are affirming the information in the question. It's followed by,
的，
which is a sentence final particle that indicates the speaker is certain about what he or she is saying.
的，
In this case, Ben, the speaker, is certain this is his family. Together
是的，
is a set phrase meaning yes, it is, in this case.
是的，
Note, it is understood from context, as this is a response to the question. After this, Ben points to the picture and says,
这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。
this is my father, mother, younger sister, and me. First is
这，
this.
这，
Next is,
是，
in this case, it's like the is in this is.
是，
Together,
这是，
this is.
这是，
After this,
我的，
meaning my.
我的，
There are two parts. First is
我，
I.
我，我
Next is
的，
the possessive marking particle.
的，
Together,
我的，
my.
我的，
Next is
爸爸，
father.
爸爸，爸爸，
Together,
我的爸爸，
my father.
我的爸爸，
Next is
妈妈，
mother.
妈妈，妈妈，
After this is
妹妹，
younger sister.
妹妹，妹妹，
Next is
和
and.
和和
Finally, he points at himself in the picture and says,
我
translating as me in this context.
我，
Altogether,
这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。
this is my father, mother, younger sister, and me.
这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。
The pattern is
这是我的 family member family member family member 和我。
this is my family member, family member, family member, and me. To use this pattern, simply replace the family member placeholders with your family members. Imagine your family members are your father, mother, older brother, and you. Older brother is
哥哥，哥哥，哥哥。
say, this is my father, mother, older brother, and me. Ready?
这是我的爸爸妈妈哥哥和我。
This is my father, mother, older brother, and me.
这是我的爸爸妈妈哥哥和我。
In more casual situations, 我的爸爸 my father can be shortened to 我爸。The possessive marking particle 的 as in 我的爸爸 can be omitted, and 爸爸 can be shortened to 爸我爸。In the case of my mother 我的妈妈 it becomes 我妈。This shortened pattern can also be used with other family members. You should be aware of this, but you won't need it for this lesson.
Let's look at some more examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。
这是我的爸爸妈妈哥哥和我。这是我的爸爸妈妈哥哥和我。
这是我的爸爸妈妈姐姐和我。这是我的爸爸妈妈姐姐和我。
这是我的爸爸妈妈姐姐弟弟和我。这是我的爸爸妈妈姐姐弟弟和我。
这是我的爸爸妈妈还有我。这是我的爸爸妈妈还有我。Did you notice how I used a slightly different pattern? 这是我的爸爸妈妈还有我。This is my father, mother, and also me. I used 还有 instead of 和。还有 and also 还有还有。
The pattern is
family member 还有我。
family member and also me. You should be aware of this pattern, but for this lesson we use the pattern
family member 和我。
family member and me. Let's review the key vocabulary.
姐姐
Older sister,
姐姐姐姐。弟弟
younger brother,
弟弟弟弟。
Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how Ben says, "Yes, it is"? 是的，是的。And how to say me? 我。Do you remember how to say and? 和。And how to say younger sister? 妹妹。Do you remember how to say mother? 妈妈。And how to say father. 爸爸，爸爸。Do you remember how to say my father? 我的爸爸，我的爸爸。And how to say this? 这，这。Do you remember how Ben says, "Yes, it is. This is my father, mother, younger sister, and me."
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈妹妹和我。Do you remember how to say family? 家人，家人。And how to say your family? 你的家人，你的家人。Do you remember how to say the question marking particle? 妈，妈。Do you remember how Lu asks, "Is this your family?"
这是你的家人吗？
这是你的家人吗？ Do you remember how to say younger brother? 弟弟，弟弟。And how to say older brother? 哥哥，哥哥。Do you remember how to say older sister? 姐姐，姐姐。
Let's practice. Imagine you're Sasha, Ben's younger sister. Respond to your friend's question referring to the photo. Don't forget to include, "Yes, it is," at the beginning of your response. Ready?
这是你的家人吗？是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈、哥哥和我。
Listen again and repeat.
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈、哥哥和我。是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈、哥哥和我。
Let's try another. Imagine you're Ben's classmate, Jian Xuan. You have a father, mother, and older sister. Ready?
这是你的家人吗？
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈、姐姐和我。
Listen again and repeat.
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈、姐姐和我。是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈、姐姐和我。
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Ben's classmate and language exchange partner, Lu. You have a father, mother, older sister, and younger brother. Ready?
这是你的家人吗？
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈、姐姐、弟弟和我。
Listen again and repeat.
是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈、姐姐、弟弟和我。是的，这是我的爸爸妈妈、姐姐、弟弟和我。
大家好，我是李英如。Hi everyone, I'm Yinru Li. In this lesson, you will learn how to talk about your family from a parent's perspective.
This is Karen Lee, and she's studying with her Chinese teacher, Lin Li. The teacher notices a picture on Karen's computer and asks, "Is this your family?"
这是你的家人吗？
Listen to the conversation and focus on the response. Ready?
这是你的家人吗？是的，这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。
Once more with the English translation.
这是你的家人吗？
Is this your family?
是的，这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。
Yes, it is. This is my husband, son, daughter, and me.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how the teacher asks, "Is this your family?"
这是你的家人吗？
First is
这
this.
这
Next is,
是
in this case, it's like the is in this is.
是
After this is,
你的
meaning your.
你的
There are two parts. First is
你
you.
你
Second is
的
a possessive marking particle.
的
Think of
的
as a way to indicate possession. The word it follows possesses the thing that comes after it. In this sentence, it marks
你
you as the possessor. Together,
你的
your.
你的
Next is
家人
family.
家人
This has two parts. First is
家
home or family.
家
Next is
人
person or people.
人
Together it's
家人
literally home people, but translates as family.
家人
Last is
吗
this is a question marking particle. It turns a sentence into a question.
吗
Altogether it's
这是你的家人吗
this is your family, but it translates as is this your family?
这是你的家人吗？
Remember this question. You'll hear it again later.
Let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Karen says, "Yes, it is. This is my husband, son, daughter, and me.
是的，这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。
There are two parts to the response. First is,
是的，
which translates as, yes, it is, in this context.
是的，
This starts with,
是，
meaning yes, when responding to a yes-no question.
是，是，
Note,
是，
is used to affirmatively answer questions that contain,
是。
like,
这是你的家人吗？
is this your family? By replying with,
是，
you are affirming the information in the question. It's followed by,
的，
which in this case is a sentence final particle that indicates the speaker is certain about what he or she is saying.
的，
Together
是的，
is a set phrase meaning, yes, it is.
是的，
Note, it is understood from context, as this is a response to the question. After this, Karen points to the picture and says,
这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。
this is my husband, son, daughter, and me. First is
这，
this.
这，
Next is,
是，
in this case, it's like the is in this is.
是，
Together,
这是，
this is.
这是，
After this,
我的，
meaning my.
我的，
There are two parts. First is
我，
I.
我，我
Next is
的，
the possessive marking particle.
的，
Together,
我的，
my.
我的，
Next is
先生，
the formal way to say husband.
先生，先生，
Together,
我的先生，
my husband.
我的先生，
Next is
儿子，
son.
儿子，儿子，
After this is
女儿，
daughter.
女儿，女儿，
Next is
和，
and.
和，和，
Finally, she points at herself in the picture and says,
我，
translating as me in this context.
我，
Altogether, it's
这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。
this is my husband, son, daughter, and me.
这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。
The pattern is
这是我的 family member, family member, family member 和我。
this is my family member, family member, family member, and me. To use this pattern, simply replace the family member placeholders with your family members. Imagine your family members are your wife, son, daughter, and you. Wife is
太太，太太，太太，
say, this is my wife, son, daughter, and me. Ready?
这是我的太太、儿子、女儿和我。
This is my wife, son, daughter, and me.
这是我的太太、儿子、女儿和我。
In this lesson, you learned two relatively formal words for husband and wife. 先生 husband and 太太 wife. In less formal situations, the following words are commonly used. 老公 husband 老公老公老婆 wife 老婆老婆
Let's look at some more examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。
这是我的太太、儿子、女儿和我。这是我的太太、儿子、女儿和我。
这是我的太太、女儿和我。这是我的太太、女儿和我。
这是我的先生、儿子和我。这是我的先生、儿子和我。这是我的先生、我的两个儿子和我。这是我的先生、我的两个儿子和我。
Did you notice how the last speaker indicates she has two sons?
这是我的先生、我的两个儿子和我。
This is my husband, my two sons, and me.
两个儿子，
Two sons.
两个儿子，
First,
两个，
literally means two counts of, or two of something, and is usually followed by a noun.
两个，
There are two parts.
两，
Two.
两，两，
Note, you might be familiar with another word for two.
二，两，
Is used when referring to the quantity of something. Next is
个，
a general measure word.
个，个，
In Chinese, think of a measure word as a counting word, which is used with a numeral to indicate the number of a noun. The pattern is numeral plus measure word plus noun. For example, in this case it's
两个儿子，
two sons
两
plus
个
plus.
儿子，
To say two daughters,
两个女儿，两个女儿，
you should be aware of the pattern to describe the number of children, but you will not need it for this lesson.
Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say, yes, it is? 是的，是的。And how to say me? 我 Do you remember how to say and? 和 And how to say daughter? 女儿 Do you remember how to say son? 儿子 And how to say husband? 先生 Do you remember how to say my husband? 我的先生 Do you remember how to say this? 这
Do you remember how Karen says, "Yes, it is. This is my husband, son, daughter, and me."
是的，这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。
是的，这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。Do you remember how to say family? 家人 And how to say your family? 你的家人 Do you remember how to say the question marking particle? 妈
And do you remember how the teacher asks, "Is this your family?"
这是你的家人吗？
这是你的家人吗 Do you remember the formal word for wife? 太太
Let's practice. Imagine you're Mark's colleague, Wei Wang. You have a wife and daughter. Respond to Mark's question referring to the photo. Don't forget to include "Yes, it is" at the beginning of your response. Ready?
这是你的家人吗？
是的，这是我的太太、女儿和我。
Listen again and repeat.
是的，这是我的太太、女儿和我。是的，这是我的太太、女儿和我。
Let's try another. This is Mark's boss, Yi Yang. You have a husband, daughter, and son. Ready?
这是你的家人吗？
是的，这是我的先生、女儿、儿子和我。
Listen again and repeat.
是的，这是我的先生、女儿、儿子和我。是的，这是我的先生、女儿、儿子和我。
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Mark's friend, Mei Lan Ma. You have a husband and son. Ready?
这是你的家人吗？
是的，这是我的先生、儿子和我。
Listen again and repeat.
是的，这是我的先生、儿子和我。是的，这是我的先生、儿子和我。
大家好，我是李英如。Hi everyone, I'm Yinru Li. In this lesson, you will learn how to greet someone at different times of the day.
This is Lin Li, the Li family's Chinese teacher. Her schedule for the day is Mark Li at 9 a.m., Karen Li at 12 p.m., Ben Li at 6 p.m. Listen to the greeting exchange between the three pairs. Pay attention to the time of day.
李老师，早上好。
早上好。你好，李老师。你好，凯伦。
晚上好，李老师。
晚上好，本。
Once more with the English translation.
李老师，早上好。
Miss Li, good morning.
早上好。
Good morning.
你好，李老师。
Hello, Miss Li.
你好，凯伦。
Hello, Karen.
晚上好，李老师。
Good evening, Miss Li.
晚上好，本。
Good evening, Ben.
Let's take a closer look at each of these expressions.
In the first conversation, do you remember how Mark says, Miss Li, good morning?
李老师，早上好。
First, Mark addresses his teacher.
李老师，
This starts with the teacher's family name, Li.
李，李，李，
After this is,
老师，
literally, teacher. But here it's used as a suffix.
老师，老师，
Together,
李老师，
literally Li teacher, but it translates as Miss Li in this context.
李老师，
Note, when
老师，
is used as a suffix, the meaning will depend on the context. The next part of the greeting is
早上好，
good morning.
早上好，
First is
早上，
morning. To be more specific, early morning, which is roughly the time between sunrise to 10 o'clock.
早上，早上，
Next is
好，
good.
好，好，
Together,
早上好，
good morning.
早上好，
Altogether,
李老师，早上好，
Miss Li, good morning.
李老师，早上好。
Do you remember the teacher's response? Good morning.
早上好，
She simply repeats the same greeting.
早上好，
Good morning.
早上好。
Since teachers in Chinese culture have a higher social status, it's not necessary for them to address their students when greeting them. In the second conversation, which takes place at noon, do you remember how Karen says, "Hello, Miss Lee"?
你好，李老师。
First is
你好，
hello.
你好，
There are two parts. First is
你，
you.
你，你，
Next is
好，
good.
好，好，
Together
你好，
literally means you good, but translates as hello.
你好，
Pronunciation note. When there are two third tones in a row, the first one changes to the second tone. Listen to the pronunciation again.
你好，你好，
This pronunciation change is not reflected in the pinyin, as you will still see two third tones. Note,
你好，
can be used during any time of the day, even at night. In addition,
你好，
can be used in formal settings. Next is
李老师，
Miss Lee in this context.
李老师，
Together,
你好，李老师，
hello, Miss Lee.
你好，李老师。
Now, do you remember how the teacher responds? Hello, Karen.
你好，凯伦。
This starts with the phrase
你好，
hello.
你好，你好，
Next is Karen's name in Chinese.
凯伦，凯伦，凯伦，
Altogether,
你好，凯伦，
hello, Karen.
你好，凯伦。
In the third conversation, which takes place in the evening at 6 p.m., do you remember how Ben says, Good evening, Miss Lee?
晚上好，李老师。
First is
晚上好，
good evening.
晚上好，
The first part is
晚上，
evening or night.
晚上，晚上，
Next is
好，
good.
好，
Together,
晚上好，
good evening.
晚上好，
Then Ben addresses the teacher as
李老师，
Miss Lee.
李老师，
Altogether,
晚上好，李老师，
good evening, Miss Lee.
晚上好，李老师。
Note, in Chinese, a person's name or title can be placed either before or after the greetings. So it could be either
晚上好，李老师，
or
李老师，晚上好。
Do you remember how the teacher responds? Good evening, Ben.
晚上好，本。
First is
晚上好，
good evening.
晚上好。
This is the same as Ben's greeting. Next is Ben's name in Chinese.
本本本。
晚上好，本。
In Chinese greetings, 好 good follows the time of the day, as in 早上好 good morning. 好 also follow a title, as in 老师好 teacher hello, or follow a name and title, such as 李老师好 Miss Li hello. A title followed by 好 or name and title followed by 好 is often used to greet someone with a higher social status than the speaker, such as a teacher, supervisor, or a senior family member. This pattern sounds more polite and personal than 你好. Let's look at the greetings once more. Listen and repeat or speak along with me. 早上好，早上好。你好，你好。晚上好，晚上好。你好，李老师。你好，李老师。早，早。Did you notice how I used the shortened version of good morning? Zao.
Morning.
早早早
is a shortened and more casual way to say
早上好
good morning. You should be aware of this shortened greeting, but you won't need it for this lesson.
Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say good morning? 早上好，早上好。
And how Mark says, Miss Lee, good morning.
李老师，早上好。
李老师，早上好。Do you remember how to say hello? 你好，你好。
And do you remember how Karen says, Hello, Miss Lee?
你好，李老师。
你好，李老师。Do you remember how to say good evening? 晚上好，晚上好。
And do you remember how Ben Lee says, Good evening, Miss Lee?
晚上好，李老师。
晚上好，李老师。
Let's practice. Imagine you're Ben, and you're in morning class. Respond by saying, Miss Lee, good morning. Ready?
本，早上好。
李老师，早上好。
Listen again and repeat.
李老师，早上好。 李老师，早上好。
Let's try another. Imagine your mark, and you're in afternoon class. Respond by saying, Hello, Miss Lee. Ready?
你好，
你好，李老师。
Listen again and repeat.
你好，李老师。你好，李老师。
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Karen, and you meet your neighbor. Respond by saying, Good evening. Ready?
晚上好，开伦。晚上好，
Listen again and repeat.
晚上好，晚上好。
直升飞机 helicopter 直升飞机直升飞机 helicopter 你坐过直升飞机吗 Have you ever flown in a helicopter? 你坐过直升飞机吗？黑色 black 黑色黑色 black 黑色的猫从屏幕里穿过。The black cat is walking across the screen. 黑色的猫从屏幕里穿过。咖啡色 brown 咖啡色咖啡色 brown 她的头发是咖啡色的。Her hair is brown. 她的头发是咖啡色的。灰色 gray 灰色灰色 gray 我买了一条灰色的领带。I bought a gray tie. 我买了一条灰色的领带。休息 rest 休息休息 rest 我不需要休息。I don't need to rest. 我不需要休息。听见 hear 听见听见 hear 我听见他在漱口。I hear him gargling. 我听见他在漱口。想要 want 想要想要 want 他想要移民去美国。He wants to emigrate to America. 他想要移民去美国。恶心 disgusting 恶心恶心 disgusting. 哟，真恶心！你西服怎么了？ Oh, disgusting. What happened to your suit? 哟，真恶心！你西服怎么了？11 11 11 11 这家百货商店有11层楼。This department store has 11 floors. 这家百货商店有11层楼。12 12 12 12 我们中午12点在酒店见面吧。Let's meet at 12 noon at the hotel. 我们中午12点在酒店见面吧。13 13 13 13 他13岁。He is 13 years old. 他13岁。电子邮件 email 电子邮件电子邮件 email 你有电子邮件地址吗？ Do you have an email address? 你有电子邮件地址吗？手机 cellular phone 手机手机 cellular phone 女人用手机传了短信。The woman texted on her cellular phone. 女人用手机传了短信。短信 text message 短信短信 text message 发短信吧。Send a text message. 发短信吧。嘴 mouth 嘴嘴 mouth 请张开嘴巴。Please open your mouth. 请张开嘴巴。脸颊 cheek 脸颊脸颊 cheek 小孩的脸颊红红的。The child's cheeks are red. 小孩的脸颊红红的。鼻子 nose 鼻子鼻子 nose 我的鼻子流血了。My nose is bleeding. 我的鼻子流血了。本子 notebook 本子本子 notebook
请问一下，这个本子多少钱呢？ Excuse me, how much is this notebook? 请问一下，这个本子多少钱呢？铅笔 pencil 铅笔铅笔 pencil 你的铅笔在这 Here is a pencil 你的铅笔在这橡皮 eraser 橡皮橡皮 eraser 这块橡皮很好用 This eraser really works well 这块橡皮很好用白色 white 白色白色 white 白色容易脏 White gets dirty easily 白色容易脏红色 red 红色红色 red 中国人喜欢红色 Chinese people like red 中国人喜欢红色绿色 green 绿色绿色 green 他从不穿绿色的衣服 She never wears green clothes 他从不穿绿色的衣服完成 finish 完成完成 finish 我会争取提前完成任务 I will try hard to finish the task ahead of schedule 我会争取提前完成任务开始 start 开始开始 start 我要从今天开始存钱 I need to start saving money from today 我要从今天开始存钱成为 become 成为成为 become 污染已经成为一个严重的问题 Pollution has become a serious problem 污染已经成为一个严重的问题14 14 14 14 14. 我女儿14岁。My daughter is 14 years old. 我女儿14岁。15 15 15 15 15等我15分钟好吗？ Wait for me for 15 minutes, okay? 等我15分钟好吗？ 16 16 16 16 16我有16双袜子。I have 16 pairs of socks. 我有16双袜子。电话 telephone 电话电话 telephone 今天晚上我给你打电话。I'll give you a telephone call tonight. 今天晚上我给你打电话。眼睛 eye 眼睛眼睛 eye 眼睛是心灵的窗户。Eyes are windows to the soul. 眼睛是心灵的窗户。牙 teeth 牙牙 teeth 女人刷了牙。The woman brushed her teeth. 女人刷了牙。嘴唇 lip 嘴唇嘴唇 lip 你的嘴唇是粉色的。Your lips are pink. 你的嘴唇是粉色的。复印机 copy machine 复印机复印机 copy machine 我可以用复印机吗？ Can I use a copy machine? 我可以用复印机吗？书桌 desk 书桌书桌 desk 我的书桌很乱。My desk is messy. 我的书桌很乱。书 book 书书 book 两本书都打折。Both books are on sale. 2本书都打折。笔 pen 笔笔 pen 办公室里没有笔。There are no pens in the office. 办公室里没有笔。邮局 Post office 邮局Post office 我昨天去了邮局。I went to the post office yesterday. 我昨天去了邮局。图书馆 Library 图书馆Library 学霸总是待在图书馆。Hardworking students always stay in the library. 学霸总是待在图书馆。超市 Supermarket 超市 Supermarket 今天超市里的鸡蛋很便宜。The eggs in the supermarket today are very cheap. 今天超市里的鸡蛋很便宜。
Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is the first step in your language learning journey that will guarantee your success. If you have trouble sticking with your language learning goals, it's probably because you're skipping one specific step. It's the step you need to take before you even start any learning. And doing it will help you stick with the language, not get overwhelmed, and reach your language goals. So today you'll learn 1. What solo language learners need to succeed, and 2. How to do self-assessment and set yourself up for success. But first, listen up. Here are this month's new lessons and resources. Be sure to download these now before we take them down in a few days. First, the Giving Directions Conversation Cheat Sheet. Do you know how to tell a taxi driver where to go in your target language? You'll be able to. With this PDF cheat sheet, you'll learn must-know words and phrases for giving directions. Second, the Most Common Verbs PDF ebook. You'll learn over 90 common verbs with this bonus PDF picture ebook. Download and review on any device. Third, how to talk about what you do in your free time. Learn how to say video games, fishing, and much more. You'll pick up over 25 words for leisure activities with this vocab bonus. Fourth, how to learn from home, learning strategies. Want to learn the language from the comfort of your home? This 1-minute lesson will give you all the best tactics for learning languages. Fifth, the top 35 adjectives for personalities. Can you describe your personality? This next bonus teaches you the 35 must-know adjectives for personalities, so you can talk about yourself in your target language. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Okay, let's jump into today's topic. The first step in your language learning journey that will guarantee your success. Here's a question for you. When you want to learn a language, how do you usually get started with that goal? You might say the inspiration comes first, and that motivates you to start. Then you get a textbook or an app and go from there, right? That's a pretty standard answer, but how does that tend to work out? Most people end up falling off a week or a month later. Why do you think that happens? Leave a comment with why you think people tend to lose inspiration quickly. More often than not, it happens because you pick a goal, a learning routine, or a resource that overwhelms you and just isn't right for you. Here's a typical example. Let's say you work an 8-hour day and you want to try to start learning. Most people would try to squeeze in learning for 1 or 2 hours at night, or you could try and wake up an hour early. And usually that doesn't work out because you're trying to do things that you're not used to. Wake up earlier and study earlier. It doesn't fit your current lifestyle. So what should you do differently? Well, let's take an example from language schools. Before you start learning, language schools force you to take an assessment test on the first day. Why? So that they make sure the language lessons fit your level and put you in the proper class. The goal of an assessment test is to find out where you are and meet you there. That's something most solo learners don't do. And the problem is, if you're a solo learner, no one assesses you. And you yourself don't know what routine works best for you, how much time you can set aside, and how much studying you can comfortably do. We all imagine we can do an hour a day, but realistically speaking, it'll be a lot less than that. So that's where self-assessment comes in. Before you start learning a language, or do any goal for that matter, it's important to know where you are in life, what your daily schedule is like, when you're busy and when you're free. So you can set your expectations, know how much time you can put in, and so you can start learning at a pace that works for you. Now, how do you actually assess yourself? There are 3 assessments you can do. 1, a life assessment. 2, a routine assessment. And 3, language assessment. Language assessment will only be helpful if you already have some experience. If you're brand new, you won't need this. First, life assessment. Here, the goal is to see how the language will fit into your life and how you generally deal with goals. As in, if you succeeded with a goal before, what helped you succeed? You could take that and apply it here. If you failed before, find out why so you can avoid it this time. So you'll need to answer the following questions. Why are you learning this language? How will it help your life? What current connections do you have to this language? For example, listening to music, watching TV, you have a relative, you have neighbors or friends that speak it. What have you been doing so far to learn? Have you learned languages before? Have you failed any goals before? How or why? Have you succeeded with any goals before? How or why? Write these questions out and answer them. Next, the routine assessment. Write out your daily routine for a whole week. For example, wake up at 7 a.m., breakfast at 8 a.m., commute to work at 8:30 a.m., arrive at work at 9:30 a.m., lunch at 1 p.m., and so on. Do this for every day of the week. The goal here is to see what your daily routine is like, so you know when you're free, when you're busy, and where you can fit in language learning. That way, if you're super busy on Mondays and 5 minutes is all you can do, then that's good enough. You won't feel bad about doing only 5 minutes. If you see that you spend 30 minutes on commuting, add language learning on top of that existing routine. If you take walks or go for a jog, play an audio lesson there. Or even if you're cooking at a certain time, play an audio lesson in the background. Remember, look for an existing routine that you already stick with, like commuting, and where you can multitask. Don't try to create new routines. For example, waking up at 7 a.m. to learn will set you up for failure. If you usually wake up at 8 a.m., waking up at 7 a.m. will be even harder. And then, actually trying to learn a language at 7 a.m. makes it even harder. This is where new learners start having trouble. You're trying to do 2 things at once, trying to learn the language and trying to stick to a new routine. 1 is hard enough. Trying to do 2 can overwhelm you. So piggyback off of your existing routines first, so you can build momentum. And finally, there's language assessment. If you're an absolute beginner, you won't need much of an assessment. Just start with our absolute beginner recommended learning pathway. But if you have experience and want to assess yourself, there are 2 things you can do. First, if you're a Premium Plus user, then you're asked to do an assessment test when you join, but you can always request it again from your teacher. And second, if you're a Premium user, check our recommended pathways. We assign these pathways, level 1 to level 5, based on your learning level, from absolute beginner to advanced. At the start of each pathway, there's a diagnostic test. You can take that to assess yourself. So thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about when routines grow stale, how to learn more language with a new routine. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! What are some surefire ways to stay motivated when you're learning a language? In this video, we're going to talk about 10 surefire ways to stay motivated and stay on track. All right, we asked our Premium and Premium Plus members for their tested techniques. You'll find out what worked for them. Number 1, you must see your progress. In other words, you have to see it to believe it. There's nothing better than seeing your results firsthand. It's like seeing muscles in the mirror after working out. How do you do this with language? In order to see it, you have to start measuring it first. And you can do that with the dashboard on our website. With the dashboard, you can see how many lessons and how much of the language you've mastered so far. So review the progress you've made with the dashboard on the site. Number 2, use the Daily Dose of Language app. With this, you get free daily mini lessons, but that's not all. This app keeps you on track because it actually sends you daily reminders. If you need that extra push or reminder, this app does it for you. And the Daily Dose lessons are quick and easy. They take just 1 minute of your time. Number 3, learn with somebody better than you. A tutor, a friend, and you can even learn with your own teacher with a Premium Plus subscription. Simply having someone better than you by your side is enough to help you improve and motivate you. It's like having a coach. Number 4, set a small, measurable goal. For example, finish 10 lessons in 1 week, or learn 20 words in a week. Most people give up because they have a vague goal, like I want to be fluent, that they don't know how to reach. But if you aim small and make it measurable, you'll have a much better chance of reaching it. Your goal is to learn 20 words, and you know 17 already. Because you know how close you are, you're more motivated to close the gap and reach your goal. Number 5, watch movies and shows in your target language. First of all, we recommend this because it's fun. But more importantly, when you understand what you hear, it's a clear sign of progress and you'll feel good about it. Number 6, listen to music in your target language. Music is enjoyable, and if you make it part of your routine, you're giving yourself a nice break in between lessons. But you're still immersing yourself in the language. So if you enjoy this routine, you're more likely to stay motivated. Number 7, do the lessons that you enjoy. Just like with music, if you enjoy our audio and video lessons, then stick with them. If you have any favorite lessons, remember you can always download them to your device and review them as much as you want. They're yours to keep. Number 8, understand that language learning is a marathon. Learning a new language is not a sprint. Most people think they can study for hours and suddenly get better. But when they realize that it takes time, this can hurt their motivation. So understand that it's a marathon. Remember that it's better to study for a few minutes every day than pulling a 5-hour cram session that will burn you out. Number 9, keep the big goal in mind. Imagine yourself being fluent. Small, measurable goals are definitely important. But when you just don't feel like learning, which is completely natural by the way, remember the big goal. Having the big picture in mind will remind you of what's important and put you back on track. Number 10, invest in the language. Make a commitment. Whether you buy a book or a subscription, enroll in a class, or join a study group, by investing and making a commitment, you're much more likely to go through with it. You've paid for it, so you value it more. You want to make sure you get your money's worth. Plus, other people expect you to show up. This can be extremely helpful when working towards your language goals. And that's it. There are so many ways to keep yourself motivated. Do you have a favorite way? Leave us a comment and let us know. So, to make sure you stay motivated in your studies, just check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Want to speak and understand more of your target language? You'll need to know more words and phrases to really make new conversations and ultimately connections. In this video, you'll discover 6 ways to master new words and phrases fast. Number 1, use our free vocabulary lists. Here's what makes this study tool so powerful. This is your free library of vocab and phrase lessons. You can learn words and phrases for current events like Halloween or New Year's. There are also many useful topics, like the top 10 ways to say hello, conversational phrases, and more. In other words, you learn phrases that you wouldn't normally find in textbooks. And if you want to learn extra fast, you can use the slideshow tool. Just tap on or click on View Slideshow, then sit back and review the words and phrases. Find the vocabulary lists in the vocabulary drop-down menu on the site. And yes, these vocab lists are free for all users. Number 2, take the audio and video lessons. One of the best ways to learn new words is through conversations. You get to hear how the words are used. So in every lesson dialogue, you'll come across some words you don't know. But don't worry, because our teachers translate everything. So when you hear the conversation again at the end of the lesson, you'll know them all. Number 3, learn with our 2,000 most common words list. Here's a question for you. How many words do you think you need for conversational fluency? 3,000? 5,000? Actually, language experts say you need only about 1,500 to reach conversational fluency. And with this study tool, the 2,000 most common words list, you get the words you need for conversational fluency right up front. That's what makes this study tool so powerful. It's all here for you. And they're broken down into simple categories, such as adjectives, nouns, verbs, food, drinks, numbers, and months. Now, 2,000 is quite a lot to learn. Do you have to learn it all? Well, you don't have to learn it all at once. You can go category by category. You can also start with the top 100 words, then move on to the top 200, 300, and so on until you get to 2,000. So if you're an absolute beginner, you can start with the top 100 words. Once you've mastered those, you can move on to the next category. You can also use other study tools to learn these words faster, right? Such as number 4, study with spaced repetition flashcards. Now, we're not talking about paper flashcards. We're talking about the smart flashcards that you can find in our premium study tools. Picture this. Think of these as a teacher inside of your computer who quizzes you and sorts the words for you. So words that you struggle with, you'll be quizzed on more and more, and words that you know, you'll see less and less. So they display the words as needed, so you never forget them. In every session, they'll refresh your memory on the words you learned last time and introduce new ones. That's exactly how our smart flashcards work. And because you get drilled on the words you struggle with, you have no choice but to master them and improve. You have no choice but to succeed. You can also study the words from your lessons and vocab lists with the very same flashcard tool. Number 5, create printable word lists with the word bank. The word bank is a study tool that lets you save words and phrases from lessons and vocab lists. Think of it as your extended brain. If you come across a new word that you want to review later, you can save it to the word bank. But the word bank also lets you print out your word lists. So click on the printer-friendly option inside Word Bank and print out your collection of words. You can use that sheet for writing practice. Number 6, use the words. After you learn a new word, using it right away is crucial to remembering it. So when you're done with a lesson or a vocab list, leave a comment. Make up a sample sentence and post it in the comment section. Write it down in a notebook, or shadow it, meaning listen to the audio pronunciation and say it out loud. You should do this because it's the actual practice that gets you to remember it. So say it, write it, listen to it again. Doing this will help lock the words into your memory. So if you want to take advantage of any of these tools for yourself, just check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Are you studying a language but starting to lose motivation? In this video, we're going to talk about the halfway point and how to keep going with language learning. After 6 months to a year of studying a language, you might be feeling like you're losing a little bit of steam. Maybe you started out strong and now you're feeling a bit low. Maybe you aren't seeing the results you wanted, or you think your efforts aren't paying off. But the reason for that might not have anything to do with your studies. It might be more an issue about your reviewing and your goal setting. 1. why you should review your past language goals. When you set goals, do you ever go back to review your progress? It can be a reminder of how far you've come and help you keep your motivation up. Let's say you started learning a language and you've been at it for a few months. In month 1, you're excited and motivated. In month 2, you're still going at it, but maybe the motivation is not as strong, and you want to make sure that you don't fall off, unfortunately, as most people do. So you work hard to keep at it. By month 3, you're kind of on autopilot and learning with whatever has been working for you. That sounds like a good place to be, cruising on autopilot. Well, it may seem like a good place to be, but the problem is by month 4, 5, or 6, if you've been coasting along for too long and haven't had any significant improvements, you may start wondering if you're actually learning or if you'll ever master the language. You might start losing motivation, and worse, you might even quit. If you're learning by yourself, it's hard, and if you're not tracking your progress, by month 4 or 5, you might realize that the textbook you've been using isn't helping you increase your fluency. You might think you're going nowhere. So the reason to review is to check your progress. Maybe you can speak none of your target language in month 1, but at the end of month 3, you can speak 3 minutes. So that's some progress. And if you're at 8 minutes now, for example, then you can definitely say that you've improved since the start. It's good for motivation, just knowing that you got a return on your time investment. So reviewing is good for progress and motivation. Also, it's natural to lose motivation with anything you're trying to learn or do. So it's something you need to keep up, something you need to keep in mind. What do you do when your motivation dips? You can stop, take some time to review and reflect. Is your motivation dipping? Are you studying less? Do you feel like you're not making progress? And if you say yes to these questions, then you can work on boosting your motivation to help you keep going. How do you boost your motivation? Well, do you remember anchor points? Anchor points are things that connect you or anchor you to your goal, such as a language class or a program. It could even be relatives or friends who speak the language, TV shows in that language you like, or an upcoming trip to the target country. All of these things, in one way or another, keep you anchored to your language learning goal. So if you're watching a TV show in your target language, then it's natural for you to want to understand it better, and your desire to learn goes up. If you're taking language classes where a teacher expects homework from you, that's another connection to the language. So you do the homework, you attend classes, you learn more. Ultimately, if you want to boost your motivation and keep going, you should get more anchor points. But how do you do that? Let's jump into the second part. 2. How to review your progress and maintain motivation. How do you review your progress? First, you always set small, measurable goals and always track results. The study resource you're using can be used for your review as well. It's easy to get demotivated and think that you have learned nothing. But if you're using a textbook, for example, you can set a number of pages, and that can be a really good motivator, something to reach for. Making sure you're getting through and then testing yourself on material is a little harder if you're not actually using your textbook, though. So make sure that you actually stick to the plan you set for yourself. Again, the tool you're using is not so important, but just make sure whatever you use, you measure it and track your progress. Reviewing is as simple as looking at your past goals and results. You can also do it the old school way and look through your notebooks, see how much you've written out. In fact, we have something called the Dean's Date with our Premium Plus plan, where our Premium Plus users send in all of the work they've completed with their teacher. The writings, the recordings, the assignments, and you can see it all, everything that you've done. Then you can see your actual results of your 3 months of work. Everything you've accomplished is in one place. Do you ever run out of motivation? Of course you do occasionally, and it's natural for everyone's motivation to dip after some time. Then if you lose motivation, how do you keep going? Just as we talked about earlier, add more anchor points, more connections to the language, whether that means enrolling in in-person classes at a real language school, planning trips, or signing up for a test. Those anchor points help you stay motivated. Your main ones need to be things that will keep you interested in your target language or the people in your life connected to it. These are the things that will keep you motivated. But it's also important to remember, whether you're struggling or you're progressing rapidly, that you have to keep your learning adaptive. As humans, we are adaptive. We adapt to environments, and this is the same thing. Your language learning path has to adapt as you progress. If you're progressing faster, there's a way to adapt. If you're progressing slower, there's also a way to adapt. 3. How you can keep going past the halfway point. If you've been studying the language for a few months, it's normal to start losing steam. If you're not losing steam and you're progressing, then great job, and maybe you can share some of your tips with us because it's one of the hardest things ever to stay motivated long term. If you are starting to lose steam, remember that this happens with any goal. It can happen to anyone at any time, so you need to learn how to adapt to it. By being aware that these dips are natural and that they happen, you can expect them. So when one does come around, you'll know how to boost your motivation and know how to keep yourself going. Here's what you do when a dip does come around. 1. Review your learning progress. If you've been setting small, measurable goals every month, then this won't be a problem. The goal here is to see how far you've come, and this will help you maintain motivation. If you can see that you learned 50 words in January, 50 in February, 100 in March, and so on, then you have measurable progress, and this lets you know that you're improving, even when you don't feel like you are. Second, if you're a Premium Plus student, you can also participate in the Dean State and submit your work on the deadline. Be sure to ask your Premium Plus teacher about it. Third, if you're a Premium or Premium Plus user, you can also check your dashboard and see how many flashcards you've studied and how many lessons you've completed. We track your progress for you. But of course, it's best to set goals like learn 50 words or speak 1 minute of conversation, because completing a lesson may not mean that you've mastered everything inside. So if you've not been setting goals and tracking them, now is the time to start. Otherwise, do you know how much of the language you can speak? Or how many words you've learned? If you don't know, then you'll feel like you're floating around and not learning anything. So be sure to set small, measurable monthly goals. Fourth, create more anchor points to boost your motivation. Anchor points are connections to the language that keep you anchored to the language and your goal. It could be friends or relatives who speak the language, TV shows in that language you like, an upcoming trip to the target country, language classes, or language programs. All of these things, in one way or another, keep you anchored to your language learning goal. So if you started learning a language because your relative speaks it, that motivation may not last forever. It may help you in month 1 or month 2, but by month 4, 5, or 6, your motivation might wear off. But you can decide to enroll in a class or start watching a TV show in that language. That will give you some new reasons to keep going to the language. In a way, you give yourself more reasons to learn. A lot of the time, the reasons why we start something are not often the reasons why we continue them. So don't be afraid to adjust your motivations as you go along. If you've reached a language milestone and are starting to feel a little less motivated, just take a look at these tips. Thorough review, setting anchor points, and reviewing your study methods will all help you keep going in your studies. For more strategies on how to keep studying, just check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.